our first speaker for the Chiro AI Summit, Day 2 Marketing Day, is Billy Sticker on behalf of ChiroCandy. He's been helping chiropractors with their marketing, specifically their advertising, for a long time now. He's been one of the most loyal and been one of the most recommended agencies I've heard about in the profession. Please enjoy Billy Sticker.
Imagina no volver a perder nunca más la llamada de un paciente. Tu consulta trabajando para ti las 24 horas del día. How cool was that? I actually don't even know Spanish. And in this session, we're going to show you how you can make content just like that. And the reason it's so important is because when it comes to marketing, all your marketing needs to be building trust. And one of the best ways to do that is by becoming known. You either need to be known in your community or you need to be easily found when somebody's looking for your services, right? That's Google search, AI search. If you're doing, Google Maps, all that is very, very important. That's a totally different training. Today, we're going to talk about getting found, getting known, and how you can make content just like this. So I've got a question for you. Is it possible for your practice to double in the next 12 months? Could you double your practice in the next 12 months? Could you triple your practice in the next 12 months? The answer is yes. And if you don't think you can, think about it this way. Is there someone else? Is there another provider out there, another doctor that could come in to your practice and double it, even triple it? You know the answer is yes. And it's not just one or two people that could do it. There's probably hundreds of people that could step into your practice looking at all the different tools that you have and double your practice, maybe even triple it. And that means it's possible for you too. You have to have the right tools. One of my favorite quotes is by T.D. Jakes. He says, "Never let no one else should ever be able to play the hand you were dealt better than you." And that is so good. And a lot of times we look at the hand we're dealt, right? The city we're in, the competition we have, the whatever it might be. And those are the cards we've been dealt. And we think, well, we just don't have a good hand. And that's our excuse for not doing well. But do you know, when it comes to poker, people have won millions of dollars with a really bad hand. You just have to know how to play the cards that you're dealt. So in this session, we're going to talk about how to make videos just like that. Now, you don't have to make them in Spanish. You can make them in English. You can make them however you want. But it is going to help you become known in your community. So my name is Billy Sticker. If we haven't met, welcome to the Marketing and Growth Day of the Chiro AI Summit. I'm the founder of ChiroCandy Marketing. Real brief background on me. Back in 2007, 2008, I worked in office for practice. We had multiple locations. I was the marketer. I was the one in the community doing workshops and all these things. Then I started doing our day ones and our day twos and totally fell in love with the practice. We started ChiroCandy. That was in 2007, 2008. I launched ChiroCandy in 2015. So for 11 years now, we have been serving the chiropractic profession. We've helped over 2,000 offices generate over $450 million in revenue because of our marketing. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that just to let you know, when it comes to marketing, we know what we're doing, and we're going to show you some really cool stuff. As a matter of fact, make sure you stay till the end because I'm going to show you some really, really cool services that we are giving to everybody that participates in this summit absolutely for free. So make sure you stick around for that. So let's get into some of the training. We're going to talk about creating your AI clone. And when it comes to creating your AI clone, there's 4 key pieces we have to have in place. And the first one is your brain. What this is the knowledge base that you are going to be using for your content. So you have to pick whatever LLM, whatever AI tool that you want. You can do ChatGPT and use a project. You can do a Claude project. You can do Notebook LM and create a notebook in there. This session isn't about doing that, right? I'm not going to teach you how to do that. Hopefully you know how to do that. You just need a project somewhere, and you're going to put as much information about you, about your philosophy, notes from seminars, podcast appearances, workshops that you've done, anything you can, your principles and philosophies, all that you want to put inside of this project. And when it comes to creating content in the future, it's going to pull from that brain, right? We want to recreate your brain, how you think about whatever content you want to make. We want to do our best to kind of equip this brain. So that's going to be step one. Step two is creating your voice, which would actually be 11 Labs is what we use. There are several tools out there to do that, but the best one, hands down, by far, is 11 Labs. And I'm going to show you a trick. And so when it comes to doing this, you want to make sure you have just a good mic, but it can even, ideally you can use like, a Shure mic or whatever, but I've even seen people do it with, try using their phones. It doesn't work as well. Do what you can to get a decent mic, go borrow one if you have to just, upload a recording. But if you take roughly 30 minutes, ideally 30 minutes or more of you speaking, naturally speaking, natural pauses, some voice inflections, how you would normally talk to somebody, and you upload it in 11 Labs, that's all it takes for them to be able to train your voice. Once they have that, then there's some settings in here that you can go through. You adjust the settings to get it as close to you as possible. And they'll recommend, after they hear everything, they'll tell you, hey, these are the settings we recommend. And then you polish it up from there. You add text to it and you can test it out. And it's amazing how great of a job it does in cloning your voice. Now, with this, be sure not to make the mistake that I did. I have tons of content. The ChiroCandy podcast, we've done well over 200 episodes over the past 10 years. So there's all that content I put in there. I'm typically a guest on a podcast at least once or twice a month. We put a bunch of those in there. I speak at a bunch of different events. So there's platform presentations that I put in there. I preach at my church pretty often. So I just filled it with as much content as I could, not for my knowledge, but to get it to clone my voice. Well, then what happened is it sounded really, really good, just like this. But then every once in a while, it would sound like I am on a stage presenting to a big group of people. And just the voice inflection would change some during whatever it was reading. So I actually had to delete everything, upload it again with just content, basically podcast type content, or even webinars. We do webinars about once a month, marketing stuff for chiropractors. Basically, just like I'm doing now, me standing here, this same mic. We uploaded that, and it did a much, much better job with my voice. You put the audio in here, or the text, whatever it is you want it to say, and then it'll actually create your own voice. So that's step two. Step number three is, how do we clone yourself, right? It needs to look like you. We're using the brain to think like you, 11 Labs to sound like you, HeyGen to look like you. HeyGen has some great content. When you go to sign up for an account, they have some great steps to show you what you need to do with the lighting and camera positioning and things like this. Don't worry too much about your voice there, because you're not going to use the voice that HeyGen creates for you. You're not going to use that clone. It does a pretty good job. It's not great. 11 Labs does a better job. So you're going to use this, and you want to create multiple different scenes. So you can create one. As you can see, I have a handful of scenes here. Me standing in my office. There's another one where I'm standing off to this side. I have some where I'm sitting at my desk. I have some outside in my backyard by our pool and outdoor kitchen. I've got several of them, and you want to do the same thing. You want to make these clones, which take about 3 minutes of a good camera. They'll tell you what settings to use. You need to have good lighting. You do about 3 minutes of audio or 3 minutes of video. You can do some horizontal, you can do some landscape, and then do different scenes. Like I said, you want to ideally get 5 to 10 different scenes. If you can get one at the gym, if you wanted, if you make content that would be appropriate for, maybe sitting on a bench with equipment behind you and you're just talking to the camera for a little bit, that is something that they're going to be able to use in the future to create videos. When I say they, that would be your team. But wherever you want to make a bunch of these. So whatever makes sense for your content, wherever you would go to make content, try to create an avatar in those areas. Now, when it comes to making the videos, what we're going to do is we need to come up with a script. So we're going to talk about the script in a second, but this is pretty important. Once we get the script and we go back to HeyGen, that's the script we're going to use to create the HeyGen video. But this is a very, very big, important tip, all right? 11 Labs connects to HeyGen. So instead of using HeyGen's voice, you can use your 11 Lab voice. They allow it to connect API. Don't do that though. We're going to use 11 Labs voice, but we're not going to use the API connection. What you're going to do is once you have your script, we're going to go inside of 11 Labs, put the script in 11 Labs. Your team can post that script, which what'll happen is you'll tell your team, hey, I want to do a topic on this. It'll use your brain, come up with the script. It puts it, it follows the steps we're going to go through in just a second to make sure it trains it right. It has the proper hooks and all that. Then in 11 Labs, they're going to put it in there and they'll play around with the settings to make sure it sounds as much like you as possible. Then you're going to download that audio file. And in HeyGen, when you go to create your video, there's a place that just says upload audio. You take that audio file, you upload it, and then HeyGen matches that voice, that audio with a video they create. That's the best way to get the best sounding avatar clone of yourself. All right, so you're going to use 11 Labs, the audio from 11 Labs, download it, and then upload it into HeyGen. So the next thing on here, let's talk about your scripts. What type of content do you want to do? You want your content you've got to be able to stop the scroll. So people right now, they're on social media and their thumb is scrolling. Your job is to get them to stop scrolling. So that's the hook. That's the first, 2 to 5 seconds. You got to grab their attention. Don't introduce yourself. None of that matters on the majority of these videos. Just get their attention. Then you want to give them some insight, whatever content you can, 10 to 15 seconds of that. Then you want to give them some type of action steps. What can they do to implement this themselves? And then some type of small call to action. Hey, if you or somebody you know are suffering from this, come see us. Something just like that. So what's going to happen is you follow this steps. The hook is so important. As a matter of fact, ChiroCandy, I'm going to give you an example of a good hook. We used to do predominantly Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's what we were known for, paid ads. But I realized that there's so many other things that chiropractors need. And I've kind of got an unfair advantage. I'm part of a mastermind of about 350 agencies from all over the world. Most of them here in the US, but we've got guys from New Zealand, the UK, Canada, and these are some of the top marketing agencies. And I'm one of the mentors in the group. So I'm one of the leaders, and I just have been able to learn a lot on all kinds of different services. So instead of just doing paid ads, we now do full services. We do more services than anybody out there, services you've never even heard of. I'll talk about that in just a second. We're actually offering some of those services at no charge to anybody on here, but we'll cover that in a minute. But I wanted to do a webinar and to kind of announce to the world, hey, we're doing other services, but I needed a really good hook. And I really struggled coming up with a good hook. And then finally, I came up with 12 ways to get patients without using Facebook. You're probably listening to that thinking, okay, I want to watch that training because it speaks to the thoughts that my ideal clients are already having, right? I need new clients. I need new patients. And I'm so tired of just using Facebook. So it speaks to that. I go through and cover great training. And then, there's a call to action at the end. So that you want your hook to speak to the thoughts that your ideal patients in your community are already having, right? That's a good hook. So think of it that way. So that's kind of how you do that. Once you get comfortable and start making these videos, what's great is when I say get comfortable, I think you should still do some yourself. Let's talk about how important this is. We have a process we call the perfect patient tribe turbine, and we want to make you famous in your community. We want to show content to people in your community, people that engage with it. We want to then show them another one, another video, and we create this audience of people who start to know, like, and trust you. And then when we show them a new patient offer, they're much more likely to say yes. So if a new patient comes in for their day one, and that is their first time for them to ever see you, is whenever they shake your hand, that's a problem. You want them, whenever they meet you on day one, you want them to say, I've been watching your videos. Because that means they're there because they already trust you. You're going to have a higher show rate. You're going to have a higher close rate because you've been doing this kind of content. And we've got several clients. We've been doing this a long time. We've got clients that have been with us 8 and 9 years. And the people that get the best results are the people that are consistently doing this content. Dr. Schulman right here, I love his story. When he first started working with us, he was around $30,000 a month in revenue. Now he's at $300,000 a month in revenue, from $30,000 to $300,000. Now he says a lot of that is because he follows our direction. He's obviously doing other stuff. He's a great physician. He's really good at what he does. But because he's good at what he does, we're able to tell people, hey, he's really good at what he does. So he creates good content, but that content has helped him build trust in his community, and that's made it easier for him to scale. So going back to building trust, here's another one of our clients, Dr. McDonald up in Canada. Just great content, right? You can start using, once you have your AI clone, you can start using your AI clone to build content just like this. And in one of these videos, he talks about think about what are some of the top questions patients ask. And he did a video on one of those questions. And the question was, I hear people say that once you start going to a chiropractor, you have to keep going. So he did a video on that. And he said, well, it's a lot like going to the gym. Do you have to keep going to the chiropractor? No. Do you have to keep going to the gym? No. It depends on how healthy you want to be. And he does a fantastic job laying out that perspective in this video. Another video is more of just an invite video. Those are great to do. There is an author named Daniel Priestley. He's actually a business philosopher, if you will. He owns several businesses. He has some fantastic books. And he talks about the 7-11-4 principle. He didn't come up with this. It was a study I think Google had done, but he kind of made it popular. And it's talking about how often people need to see your content. And that 11 in there, so 7-11-4 is they need to consume 7 hours of your content. Let's face it, let's stop right there. Your patients are probably not going to consume 7 hours of your content, nor are you going to go out and create 7 hours of content, all right? But let's look at the 11 different pieces of content. People need to see you multiple times over 4 different platforms. That could be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Google, your Google reviews, your Google Maps. There's all these different platforms out in the community, workshops, on streaming TV. There's all these different places that they can see you, but we need to be able to get them in that web first. But what if you just needed 11 key pieces of content that you were using out in your community for people to know, like, and trust you? And I'm not saying it is, but what if those 11 key pieces of content would help you double your practice? The question now is, how quick will you get those 11 pieces of content done? So what type of content do you do? We always recommend everybody do some type of invite video. You introduce yourself, where your office is, and maybe do a quick office tour. These are going to be a little bit longer than 30 to 40 seconds, but you want to make them as quick as you can, and just kind of pull the curtain back. Let people see what your office looks like, your exam room, your treatment room, just your front desk, the people in there. Those do really, really well. And then you want to start doing content. And some can be content answering the top questions you get asked, or the top questions you wish patients would ask. But some of it can also be just fun content. It could be something, hey, this is our CA Jenny, and today's her birthday, and she's also been with us 10 years now. Listen, we wanted to celebrate Jenny, whatever. It could just be content showing your personality, that you're human. That builds the know, like, and trust factor. But when it comes, those are like videos, some of those you need to do, but some of the content videos, what you can do is you get the script, they go to your brain, you tell your team, hey, these are the next 5 videos I want to do. And something else to do to come up with that content is on the notes section of your phone, create content ideas, share it with your team. And as you have ideas, start putting them, just start listing them out. Have your team, since you shared it with them, they start listing stuff out. And then as they do that, when it comes time to make videos, whether you're going to do them live or you're going to have your team use your AI clone, they can just go on that list and ask you which ones you want to do. They can either get the script, or you could still use AI to get the script, and then you record the videos, or you give it to them. They use 11 Labs, put the script in, they get your voice. They can either go to HeyGen and use your AI avatar, or another thing you can do is you get a bunch of B-roll video. Just B-roll. You with a patient, you at the gym, you playing at the park with the kids, you at your desk. You understand what B-roll is. You have a Google Drive full of B-roll. And then as they get these audio files, they get these scripts, audio files, they can do your voiceover on B-roll. And you can also have other images and things like that. There's so many ways to edit these videos. So I hope this inspires you to go out and start creating content. I want to put this back up here. I want to show you this. I mentioned the 12 ways to get new patients without using Facebook. Here's a link to the replay. You don't have to opt in. Just go straight to the page, chirocandy.com/12-ways. There's also a checklist on there that you can download. It's actually 22 ways to get patients. I over-delivered, and instead of doing 12, I actually talked about 20 ways to get patients without using Facebook. But the reason there's 22 is because Facebook and Instagram are on the list. But I break down all kinds of different things. Highly recommend that you watch that. So what happened as far as why we even started doing that and why we've changed so much is it is frustrating to me as a business owner when we really have a heart to serve chiropractic that Facebook doesn't always work well. Now, we know without a doubt, patients that do content get much, much, much better results. But with all the tools we have, whenever we have clients that just aren't producing content, it's frustrating for us too, because we want them to succeed. We want clients to be with us for years. So I started thinking, knowing what I know about marketing and having my experience with these other agency owners, I started thinking, if I was in practice, what would I do? First off, I would make sure that my website is on point. Not only does it look good, right? Everybody's so caught up on it looking good. It does need to look good, ideally on mobile, not just a desktop, because 90% of your traffic or more is going to be on your mobile, on a mobile device. But it also needs to communicate and be structured properly to communicate properly with not just Google, but Bing and AI, right? That's so important. So I would need the website to be dialed in. I would be doing SEO because, SEO is so important. Search engine optimization. You have to be known, which we just talked about, all this content, and you have to be found. When somebody goes to ChatGPT or Perplexity or Google or Bing and they look you up, it needs to be a non-negotiable. You have to come up on the first page, because guess what? People in your community are searching for you and are searching for your services. And if you don't come up, do you think they just don't go see a chiropractor? No, they go see somebody else who's showing up on the first page. So it has to be a priority. So I would make sure that I'm doing SEO. I would also make sure we have a really sneaky software called Invisible Intent. It's this strategy and stuff that we put together. And what it does 2 things. The first thing it does is anybody that goes to your website, it captures all their information: name, email, phone number, physical address, without them having to opt in. If they go to your website, we capture their information. So what do you do with it? Well, we retarget them on social media, which hopefully you have a Facebook pixel set up anyway, and you're already doing that. But we also send a postcard in the mail. We put them on an email drip campaign. We're capturing all their information. We can look and see if it's any inactive patients that are going. We give them a call. So you have that we do. And then also, that in itself is pretty cool. We've got a new client. Well, he's been with us about 6 months now. And when he came on board, I was telling him about, this service. And he's like, oh my goodness, I pay for a software that does that for me. I said, okay, well, you don't have to pay for it anymore because, we're including it with this. And I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, what are you paying? Because typically it's only been available for these companies with really large budgets. And he said, I'm paying $900 a month for access to the software. $900 a month. And I said, well, cancel that. We're doing it for you. He was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. But that software, that was the only thing it did, is it captured this information. Well, ours does two things. It does that, but then it does this. You give us a list of zip codes in your area. Where are all the neighborhoods that your ideal patients live? You give us a list of keywords. Now, obviously, we know some of the top keywords, but if there's other keywords you want, you give them to us. We take that, and we put it in the software, anybody in your community, in those zip codes that search those keywords, we grab all their information. So what do we do with that information? We retarget them on Facebook, put a postcard in the mail, email campaign. All this is from people who never went to your website. They're just people in your community looking for your service, and then we can retarget them and capture all their information. And that's why we call it invisible intent, because we're able to get your message in front of the highest intent people out there. So it's a great service. So anyway, going back to what I was saying about what services would I do? I would make sure I was doing invisible intent. I would be doing Google ads. I'd make sure Google Maps would be a huge priority. I would make sure my Google business profile is dialed in and optimized, and all the NAP. I did another training on this recently on how to dominate local SEO. I would make sure that was all good, because that's the first place people go. When they go online to look you up, if they're going to Google, the Google Maps is the first place that shows up. That's the most valuable real estate on the internet for a local business. So that would be a priority. I would do streaming TV. Right now, we can do TV ads retargeting people who went to your website, or the people that went in those zip codes that are searching for your services. We now have a way that we can use streaming TV commercials on Hulu and all these different streaming services to retarget people in your community that went to your website, that searched for you, or just specific demographics in your area for different niches that you want to target. So I would do streaming TV. I would do streaming radio. I would do, Facebook ads. And so that's what we did. We decided, what, how can we offer all of these services for our clients? And so we launched, basically full service agency. Well, we've been an agency for a long time, but now we're doing all these other services, and the clients are absolutely loving it. So I want to encourage you, if that's something you're interested in, schedule a call with the team. But for anyone that's participating in this, we're actually giving you 3 months of Invisible Intent, that sneaky software, for free. So if that's for all attendees, if you're bought a VIP ticket, you actually get access to Invisible Intent for 12 months. So this is a service. We actually sell this for $199 a month. If you're in this, you don't pay the $199. We also do it. We have an option to where if you want to pay for the year, instead of $2,400, you pay $1,900. You get 2 months free. So if you're a VIP, you can look at it as $2,400 value, $1,900 value, however you want to look at it. It's still free for you guys. So the only thing you pay for is any traffic that goes to your website that you capture. Those are 30 cents a piece. Any lead that is from search ID. So we have site ID and search ID. The search ID, those are 90 cents a piece. And then you cap it. You can say, hey, I don't want to do more than 5 a day on a search ID, but these are really high intent people. Why don't you do 10 or 20? It's totally up to you. We've got a guy right now that's doing over 50 or right at 50 a day. And some people just cap it at 10. So that's totally up to you. But you don't have to pay for access to the service. So for you to claim this, all you need to do is schedule a call with our team. So to get access to Invisible Intent, or if you just want us to talk about like coming up with a marketing strategy, if you want us to audit your website, how well is it ranking in AI search for SEO? We can rank, check your Google business profile and your maps listing, see how that's doing. If you just want an audit of what you're doing, what you should be doing, schedule a call with the team. We can set all that up for you, but at least schedule a call with the team just to get access to Invisible Intent. You do have to schedule a call because we need some information from you. We need all your keywords, zip codes, all that stuff to get it set up. So thank you so much for taking the time to participate in my session. And even if you don't use any of our services, I think it's crazy if you don't use Invisible Intent. But this is my big takeaway that I want you to leave here with. Your marketing should be building trust. Make sure when that new patient walks in, that is not the first time they're ever seeing your face. If you need anything at all, my name's Billy Sticker. Schedule a call with us. You can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. And I really do hope we can help you grow, double, triple your practice. Thanks.
If you want the best deals on products and services, along with some of the best speakers in chiropractic, you're going to want to register for our next summit coming up soon. Click on down below and register today.